So, tell me, how did you meet Leon Russell, and what was he like?
The space cadet.
The space cadet.
Anyway, yeah, it was
love
fun.
Leon.
Leon was a funny guy. I like
He's
Leon.
awesome.
But I met him through Delaney and Bonnie and Friends. I was the first friend to go to California. Delaney and Bonnie had been with Stax, and I did a thing with Stax, and that's where I met them. And
Oh yeah, tell me about that.
through Duck Dunn and Don Nix. Well, Duck discovered Delaney and Bonnie in a bowling alley in Hawthorne, California.
Right.
Duck did, and so he come back talking about this white chick that was the next Aretha Franklin, the white Aretha Franklin,
Yeah.
and it wasn't Delaney and Bonnie then.
Right.
That didn't happen until after things got established, and that immediately turned to Delaney and Bonnie. And I was the first friend, and Duck found them, brought them to Stax. I was at Stax. I was the first white artist signed to their Stax's hip label. And so, I mean, I've always been ingrained in gospel and blues and real rhythm and blues, you know, hold on, I'm coming, knock on wood stuff, you know, and all the Booker T and the MGs. And I knew everything in the Stax catalog, that's for sure. I could play and sing every song in it. But he brought them to Stax to do their first album.
Except no
Really-
substitutes? Oh no, home.
Home. See,
Right.
but that was really the first album, but it didn't come until after Accept No Substitutes, because Delaney walked on them on Stax. But they had it all set up. They were going to have the whole machine behind Bonnie and Delaney,
Right.
and they were going to become superstars. But that didn't happen. You know,
They were awesome.
Delaney saw to it. They walked on Stax and signed a deal with Elektra when they already had a deal with Stax. They did the same thing with Elektra with the Beatles record, because when George became interested in Delaney and Bonnie and Friends, they signed a deal on the Beatles label, and they already had a deal signed with with Elektra. I mean, it was like crazy. Delaney didn't even think twice about, like, you know, screwing somebody over. It was just on. Thought it was steps up, and it was really steps back. You
And
know,
the story didn't go well either, did
you
it?
know, it never went well. None of that. But to get back to Delaney and Bonnie with Stax Records, they had the one thing that they had done, and that's when I met them. And they came to see me at the Cabaret Club down on Southern Highland in Memphis, and that's the place I played. A little shotgun building, brick building. A train went by. It rumbled when the train came by real slow. The building did that. it rumbled the building. You could feel it on the stage. But one day there they were, Delaney and Bonnie, Duck Dunn, and Don Nix, and they were my producers, Duck and Don, and.
Must have been
They
exciting.
showed up. They brought them from California
Yeah.
and introduced them to me. After my show, I went out, sit down, and I had never been further west than Texarkana. Played the Pines Ballroom there. Texarkana is as far west as I'd ever been, and I was raised in the South, probably in the state, right around Memphis area, and Arkansas, and but what the hell was that?
Well, you were talking about Delaney and Bonnie, and then going to meeting them. Okay.
Yeah, well, I'd never been out of Memphis Mid-South area, and I went out and sat down after my show. I went out and sat down. Duck and Don introduced me to them.
Mm-hmm.
And
You hit it off pretty good, I guess.
right away. But upon meeting them, within 10 minutes, they said, "We're putting a band together. Would you like to be in our band?" And I said, "Hell yeah!" Well, Duck and Don was like, I thought we signed you to Stax, you know. Well, I wanted to go. I wanted to go further than what they had done with Stax. They wanted me to be a bubblegum thing, like Freddie and the Dreamers and some stupid shit like that, you know. Herman's Hermits. I was going to be the answer to the British Invasion, you know, for Stax Records.
Right.
I was into like Knock on Wood, Midnight Hour,
Right.
you know.
Right.
Spencer Davis, Give Me Some Lovin', you know, Expressway to Your Heart, Soul Survivors. I was into doing some really serious singing stuff. They wanted me to sing this bubblegum stuff, Raspberry Rug, you know. Oh my goodness, won't even go there. But when I got with Delaney and Bonnie, he had me singing chick parts, man. I went all the way to California, $5 a night, sleeping on his couch to sing chick parts, high harmonies. Well, it's a good thing I knew about how I was around all those black folks all those years. And by the way, I'm black. My great-grandmother was a black woman. But it paid off for me because I could really sing high harmonies. I knew all that platters and all that stuff. I could sing all of that.
Well, that sound that you guys had was really, it was incredible. It was unbelievable. When you
Yeah.
listened to just the three of you singing,
It was just the three of us, and we were tighter than Crosby, Stills, and Nash ever thought about being.
oh yeah.
And it was big when they brought Rita in every now and then just so Bonnie could have
Well,
a
that was with
companion.
the band.
You
That
know,
was the band.
but that was when the band came. But it started out with just Delaney, Bonnie,
So
and
what
me.
was it like with just the three of you
It was
traveling?
incredible. We went all over the United States, and we showed up. Alan Pariser, their manager, took Delaney, Bonnie, and me, and we did a radio tour. And some of the radio stations didn't know we were coming, and we just showed
That's
up,
fun.
and they would let us play. We played live all over the United States, and said, "Hey, we're going to come back with a band," and we did.
Well, personally, I think just the three of you were just awesome. You didn't even need a band, but
It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
but and again, that was Delaney's teaching. I mean, he had a way of doing that sort of thing that no one else I've ever known could put together stuff like the way.
You know, he taught me.
And his
how-
writing ability was.
He taught me about listening, how important that was. You know, everybody wants to step out and do their thing and turn it up and do all this stuff. No, but the thing is listening and keeping your eyes on somebody. Eric and my singing worked well together because I paid attention. You know, I didn't miss a lick, man. I didn't with Delaney and Bonnie.
You took that
when it was
into
the three
their-
of us, man. I'm telling you, it would sound like one voice.
Yeah.
You know, that's what. And
So did you write together, you and Delaney? What was your writing experience with him?
only wrote one song, and that was with he had Bonnie and me sit down at the kitchen table and write a song called "Alone Together." Loving a whole lot more than we used to.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned.
What about
He
other?
wrote the first verse, and I wrote the second, and Bonnie and me wrote the third. All right, and so that's how that worked, and that was the only one. And my first rock and roll song, the first song I ever did write on piano was "Where There's a Will, There's a Way." I asked Delaney one time. I said, "How is you write rock and roll songs so effortlessly? How do you do that?" And he said, "Just change the tempo." You know, he said, "You can do it." Because I'd already written like "Thorn Tree in the Garden," you know, "Dreams of a Hobo,"
Walking
you know, these,
Softly.
you know, "Walk Softly." Those are my first three songs I ever wrote. You know, but I wanted to write a rock and roll song. And he said, "Just change the tempo." You know, put a different beat behind it. You know, and it's like I had a light bulb moment. I went home and wrote immediately. That's when I was living up on Bronson. In John Garfield Jr.'s old place.
In the Hollywood
I
Hills.
went home immediately and sat down and wrote "Where There's a Will, There's a Way" about me and my first wife, Kathy. You know, we never, I don't even remember a conversation we ever had. She hardly ever spoke. But it was just a difficult situation. But it fell out. And when I called Delaney on the phone, I said, "Listen to this, what do you think about this?" He said, "That's great, man, we're going to do it. I'm thinking that I'm going to get to sing in the band, all right?" That did not happen. He took it, and on top of that, he gave himself writer's credit on my song. He didn't think twice about stealing from you. Nuh-uh.
Well,
Stealing from me is one thing, but give you credit. If you're going to rip me off, at least put my name on my record in the right place. Anyway, I've still got a burn in my saddle, and he's dead.
well, oh dear. That's not a pretty way to end it.
That's all right. He didn't. It wasn't a pretty way for him to end his life. You know, the way he conducted it is the way he died, and that's for sure what happened.